Again, my name is Ann Park. I'm the career strategist here with University of Toronto's School of Continuing Studies Blueprint Career Services, and we're going to get started. So welcome everyone to our Industry Insights presentation on entrepreneurship. And before we introduce our guest speaker, Jith Dravin, I'm going to take care of a few housekeeping items. So first of all, if folks out there can let me know if you can hear me, if you can see the presentation, and if there are any other access needs that might affect your participation. Just as a reminder, and thanks for the thumbs up and a few comments here, great. This presentation is being recorded and it will be uploaded on YouTube probably in a couple of weeks or so. So if there's something that you're missing or if there are some accessibility challenges, please do take the time to review this presentation on YouTube. Now I'd like to do a very important land acknowledgement. I'd like to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place, is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. For those of you who don't identify as Indigenous, I would encourage everyone to find out more about the history of colonization in Canada. It's a very important part of our history in Canada. For myself as an immigrant and as a part of a colonizer, it's been a very eye-opening experience. And in my own work, in social work, we learn a lot about decolonization. And I really hope that everyone can engage in the same kind of practices, particularly those who don't identify as Indigenous. All right, so a few housekeeping items, and everyone so far so good. Please do keep your mics off and cameras off during the presentation. Feel free to post questions and comments in the chat during the presentation. We'll save the specific questions that you have directed towards Jith to the end, the Q&A portion, which will take place at about 1 o'clock or so. Hi, Jith. Good to see you. I'll introduce you formally shortly. But I would just say, for folks who might have comments in the chat, I will be responding to them the best that I can. I hope to get to all of these questions. For the questions that we haven't had chance to have them responded to by Jith, I'll see about collecting them and perhaps reaching out to Jith and maybe some of our team from our entrepreneurship program here at the School of Continuing Studies to find out if they can provide some response, because we really do value your participation and we want to make sure that all of your questions are being answered. As I mentioned, this session is being recorded and will be available on our site and on YouTube in the upcoming weeks. For those of you who aren't familiar with the School of Continuing Studies, we're most known for our open enrollment programs. There are no eligibility criteria to participate in any of our programs. Open enrollment is what it is. You don't need to apply. You sign up. Our programs are flexible. They're based on the needs of the labor market. They are incredible. And I think it's extremely important for all of you folks to know that we have an amazing entrepreneurship program offered through the School of Continuing Studies. All of our classes are taught by industry experts. So if you take an entrepreneurship class, particularly if you'd like to take this incredible program, you'll be taught by entrepreneurs, people who are actually working in the industry. Not to mention, you'll be surrounded by professionals in your class. Oh, and I'm getting some great comments. Thank you. Who are also working in the industry. So you get U of T on your resume. You get the outstanding education and training through U of T, but you also get an amazing opportunity to network with professionals as well. So check it out, everyone. We also have an English language program here at the School of Continuing Studies. It's for executive level English studies, and it's at our campus. If you'd like to find out more, please do visit our website. It's incredible. For those of you who aren't aware, we have something called comparative educational services. So if you're an internationally trained professional, you can come to use our services to effectively evaluate your credentials. And as an added bonus, you get a $200 voucher for any of our courses if you participate in comparative educational services. Okay, I think it's important for you to tell you a little bit about about oh, and just to let everyone know, we have someone who shared our the link to our incredible entrepreneurship program. Please do check out the link. It is in the chat. It's incredible. Take a look at our courses. You won't regret it. But as I mentioned, I do represent Blueprint Career Services, and I think it's really important to let you know a little bit about what we do besides facilitating these incredible free industry insights presentations. So, if I can just ask everyone, first of all, I've been working in this industry for over 20 years now, as an employment counselor, as a career strategist, in various similar capacities. And what do you think is the number one question that people ask me when they sit down to chat? You can just type in the chat. Like, what do you think is the first thing they ask me as they're seeking to get some help finding employment? Any ideas? You can just type in the chat. How do I get a job? Yeah. Any other ideas? What other kinds of things they ask me? How do I get an interview? Can you help find job? Is it free? That's good. Good question. Job. Yep. Yep. Any other ideas? What is the first thing they ask me? Is a good business idea? How to start business? How to get past the ROAS? These are all good questions, and these are certainly questions I'm very skilled at answering. Sometimes I have to reach out to professionals such as Jith to respond to entrepreneurship questions. But the number one question that people ask me is, "Can you guarantee that you will find me a job?" And the answer that I respond to is, "Yes, I can guarantee that by working with me, you can get a job." But it's only if you put in the work and we can work together, because obviously, it requires hard work, it requires dedication. If you're doing it properly, looking for work should be a full-time job in itself. And in fact, over 90% of the folks I've helped with over the years have been successful in securing jobs and careers that really do meet their needs. And among our offerings here at Blueprint Career Services, we have Career Nav, which are one-on-one career strategist sessions with me, Clifton Strengths Workshop, which is based on an assessment identifying your uh, top strengths, and then we discuss how you can use those strengths to really elevate your career. We have the Career Wayfinding Series workshops, three-hour workshops based out of the outstanding Design Your Life series from Stanford University, and it really provides a specific approach to planning and being successful in achieving your career goals. Next, we have the Alternative Careers workshops, which is for internationally trained professionals from regulated professions who are looking to translate into new careers in Canada, and they want to find out how to use those transferable skills and experiences. And last but not least, we have the Real Talk and Industry Insights panel. You know all about the industry insights, real talk. We choose specific topics as they relate to employment, um, such as dealing with ageism in the workplace, how to deal with a gap in your resume. Our library is available on YouTube, so please do check it out. And for more information, you can contact us at this email. In terms of the offerings that we have at Blueprint Career Services, as you know, that our Real Talk and Industry Insights presentations are free, but we do have a combination of free and fee-based offerings. On the bright side, there are lots of financial offerings, financial aid and other options if you're concerned about the fees. So we have bursaries and awards. We have something called the Canada Training Credit. OSAP covers our courses. Windmill microlending. Our programs are eligible for Better Jobs Ontario, and all of our offerings, including Blueprint, are eligible for OW and ODSP funding on a case by case basis. Again, if you have any questions, please do reach out to me, and I will tell you more. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Jith Dravin. So, Jith Dravin is a small business consultant with the City of Toronto. With 2 graduate degrees, including an MBA, Jith has diverse experience from community building to business development to helping businesses start and scale up. So, for folks who are looking to start their own business, or those who already have a small business but are looking to really expand, Jith is your the professional you got to find out more about. You need to talk to. Jith is so pleased to join this event and to share resources available through the city to help you start or grow your business. And without further ado, then, Jith, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Jith. Thank you, Jith. I'm so happy you're here. How are you
Thank you,
doing?
Anne.
How are you doing
I'm good,
today?
thank you. How are
Great.
you?
I'm really great. I'm so excited to share information with folks out there who are looking to start their own businesses. Jith and I met at an event through the city of Toronto, and I knew, well, it used to be known as Enterprise Toronto, and it's just such a wonderful organization, free resources, grants, you name it, for people who are interested in their start small businesses. So I'm so excited you're here, and I would love to hear your presentation, Jith.
Sure, and thank you everyone for being here with me and sharing the time with us. And thank you, Anne, for offering this opportunity. I'm really excited to share this with you. Like Anne mentioned, I'm with the City of Toronto, and we are part of a unit called the Toronto Small Business Enterprise Center. And yes, TSBC for short. What do? We are like the one-stop shop with the city. If you are interested in starting a business, or if you already have started a business and you're looking to expand it, we are the kind of first point of contact at the city. As you can see from the numbers, we interact with many clients throughout the year. Post COVID, those numbers have gone up exponentially, and that's why you see so many interactions now. This is for last year. These stats are, and helping small businesses thrive is imperative because not only do they provide a lot of employment and contribute to the GDP of the economy, there's another side about small businesses, and many of the small businesses that we serve are in that 1 to 10 employee sized type of business. And these businesses and their owners and the employees of these businesses are residents of the communities that they live in, those neighborhoods that they live in, whether they're in Toronto or around the area. And so when they have a successful business operation, in turn, that means that these neighborhoods and the communities that they're part of are also successful because these owners and the employees give back, whether it is buying something from another local small business or whether it's contributing through a donation to a community organization. In whatever way they support, whether it's volunteering their time, however they support, it adds a lot of social benefit to the community. And that's what you see when you go around the world. When you see a thriving place, it's primarily because of those small businesses that constitute the kind of the fabric of the society. And so having a prosperous small business sector in turn means that the city and the country in turn benefits as a whole. Next slide, please. So, how do we support our small businesses? There are a few ways in which we support small businesses here in Toronto. The first and foremost way is through our advisory service. So, this is where whether it's an idea that you have or whether it's a business that you have already launched and you're looking at ways you can expand, or whether it's a business plan that you want to be reviewed and you want to take it to get funding from a bank or a private investor, we are here to help. So this advisory service comes free. Actually, all of our services are free. Uh, all you have to do is just make an appointment with us either virtually or you drop in at one of our centers, which I will show you shortly, and you can have a chat with us, and we'll be happy to help. I'm going to talk about the services that the City of Toronto offers, and I see many of you are not just from Toronto, but from around the province and sometimes around the country and the world. So, if you are in Ontario, uh, you want to check out your local small business enterprise center. There are about 54 different small business enterprise centers around Ontario, and each municipality or region has one. So, do reach out to them if you are not in Toronto. Now, if you're outside of Ontario, you might want to check out your province or territory and search for the small business support services that they provide. And in turn, they might take you to your local municipality, and then you can check that out. Now, if you're overseas, I'm not entirely sure how to help you, but do reach out to us. I'll be happy to have a chat with you in case you're looking at relocating to Toronto or somewhere in Ontario, or if you're looking to, uh, expand your business operations from that country to Canada or Toronto, we can help you out as well. But you would need to have a chat with us. But everything I'm going to talk about today is primarily for Toronto and Ontario. Yeah, I hope it'll be helpful for you. The other way we support our small businesses is through our programming. So there are various programs we offer to support small businesses. These include training programs, all of which are offered virtually. They cover various aspects of running a business or starting a business, anything from the legal side of things to insurance to hiring people to government bidding opportunities to marketing, uh, finance, so on and so forth. Everything you need to know about running a business here in Toronto is covered in those webinars, and just like and programs through U of T, they are offered by experts in the industry. So these are not academic courses where you would go back and do homework and write assignments and things like that. These are hands-on practical information that you can actually take and implement in your day-to-day lives or your business right away. The other kind of programming that we offer is our funding programs. So there are two particular grants that we offer. Grants are money that's given to you, and you can invest that into your business, and you don't have to give it back. Um, One of the grant programs is called the Summer Company Grant Program. This is a program specifically targeted at youth between the ages of 15 and 29 who are in school or who are returning to school in the fall. Uh, as the name suggests, it's only for the summer. It's a $3,000 grant, and it comes with training and mentoring for the summertime. It's a great way to start a business, offset much of that risk and also the initial capital expenditure that's needed. And in many cases, throughout the 20 years of running the program, we've seen students that have started the business in the summer go on to continue it post summer, and some of them have even expanded internationally because in the end they ended up becoming business people rather than becoming employees. The other program is the Start a Company grant. It's a $5,000 grant that's offered at least 2 times a year. And this program is open to anyone over the ages of 18. Now, like I mentioned before, I can only speak about Toronto or Ontario. So our version, the version that's offered by City of Toronto, you need to be a resident of Toronto, and you also need to have a business in Toronto in addition to a few other criteria. For other small business centers in Ontario, they'll have their own criteria, and you might want to check your local municipality or region out and see how that program runs in your jurisdiction. The primary funder for this program, both of these programs actually, the Summer Company and the Starter Company program, is the province of Ontario. So that's why we can offer it throughout Ontario through the different small business centers. Another way we support our entrepreneurs is through our mentoring program. So this is where you can work with an experienced entrepreneur and go through that journey without having to figure it out on your own and spend a lot of time and money trying to find a solution to the problem. Instead, you can work with someone who has already been there and done that, and have that person as a sounding board or almost a part of your advisory board to help guide you and navigate through the whole process and make it a much more successful endeavor. Another way we support our entrepreneurs is through our forums. These are essentially events that are offered throughout the year. Last year, we had 3 such events. One of them focused around importing and exporting. The other one was around financing. And the last one is our kind of the marquee event for Small Business Month, which is the Small Business Forum. This year, we'll have similar events. What you want to do is check out our calendar and maybe attend some of these events. Another way we support our entrepreneurs is through our networking opportunities, where we work with various partners in the city, whether it's a business incubator or a board of trade, and or a business association, and hold events together. So this way, you get even more opportunities to kind of meet with like-minded individuals, potential customers, maybe business partners, suppliers, or get to know about the different government resources out there, and in turn, have a much more solid base to operate your business. So these are some of the three main ways in which we support our entrepreneurs and small business owners. But there's another way, which is through our incubation service. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Yes, so the incubation service. So this is where we support our small businesses, or rather our startups, through our incubation service. So the city does not offer this service directly. Instead, what we do is we work with various nonprofits throughout Toronto that cover different sectors, or they may be sector agnostic, and they offer the services. And in turn, what we do is we support them through the back end, either financially or through program support. These incubators could cover various sectors, anything from tech to finance to social, or food, or even demographic based, women entrepreneurs, newcomer entrepreneurs, indigenous entrepreneurs, so on and so forth. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take you through a tour of our website, and I'll show you all the resources that I talked about, so that you have some kind of practical information to take back. And that'll also kind of answer some of the questions you may have. But in the meantime, these incubators are the kind of the place you want to be if you have a really innovative idea that can be commercialized and become something really big. It doesn't necessarily have to be the next unicorn, but it could be something that could really solve a major problem. And what you need in this case is a set of resources that you might not necessarily get outside of an incubator. This includes mentoring, training, funding, and the network that comes with these kind of hubs that would really elevate and scale up your business much more rapidly than you try to do it on your own. And those kinds of businesses, the ideal place to be is through an incubator. So I'll show you what these are. Okay, so if we can go to the next slide. I do have a question, and is it possible for me to take the audience through a tour of the website by sharing my screen?
I'm not sure. Let's find out. This is
Okay.
a platform for us, but let's do our best. Let's do our best. Just our administrators out there. Administrator, what are your thoughts? Are you there? We love experiments. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not possible. Thanks, Sean. Unfortunately, it's not.
Oh, okay. All right, no worries. So in that case, I'll just type in the address here. And what you might want to do is check our website out. Um, and I'll just put the address in the chat. So usually I take the audience through a tour of our website, and that way I can relate everyone to the resources that we offer. Um, but I'll let you check that out on your own. And then when you have explored all the different sections, do reach out to us. You'll see our contact information on the, I would say, top right, I believe. Yeah, right there. You see the contact information. You'll see our email, phone number. Do reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help. And if you want to make a consultation with us, like an appointment, you go into that section that says consultations and entrepreneur supports, and you click on consultations and business plan reviews, and then just book your consultation. If not, you can drop into our offices, Scarborough on Monday, North York on Tuesday. And for those drop-ins, you don't need to make any kind of appointments. It's first come, first serve. We'll be happy to have a chat with you. Okay, so moving on, uh, I'm going to talk about what it takes to start a business. So I saw a few questions around how to start a business and things like that. Some of them were even asking how to start a business with no money. So let's explore that. So yeah, fundamentally, starting a business comes down to one thing. I mean, not starting with a business comes down to one thing. A business is essentially uh, there to solve a problem. As long as you're solving a problem where there's a market need, you're guaranteed to have a successful business. Now, there are two types of ways of solving the problem. One of them is where you are doing, you're coming up with a solution that's building on an existing business model. And all you're doing is you're making that better. So, for instance, let's say you have an idea to start an accounting firm or a pizza shop. Now, both of these types of businesses have been in existence for hundreds of years, so it's nothing new and innovative. However, you are a CPA that has a specialized skill set that'll solve many of the challenges that very small businesses have, and they don't. These small businesses, I'm talking about people that have, the businesses that have between 1 to 10 employees, they might not necessarily have the resources to hire a kind of a brand name accounting firm and get all those advantages that come with it. Instead, they might be looking for a smaller boutique firm uh, that fits their budget range. So you, as this new CPA, you have an expert skill set that would really benefit these small businesses, and you are now offering it to these individuals and these clients at a much more affordable rate. All you're doing is improving on an existing business model and making it better. Nothing new and innovative in that sense, except that you have found a gap in the market and you have found a way to improve that service, and you're now going out there and making it better. Same thing with a pizza store. It's not like you're coming up with some kind of a new way to create a pizza or anything like that, because everything has been tried out pretty much. However, you may be having a recipe that was handed down, let's say, from many generations ago, and you came to this country and you thought that it's not available out in the market, or the ones that are already out there are not doing a very good job, and you think you can do better. You can improve on that existing model by coming out and offering this amazing pizza that you are capable of producing. Again, all you're doing is improving on an existing model. On the other end of the scale comes something completely new and innovative. Now, this could be something as groundbreaking as some, let's say, a treatment for cancer, or uh, you're going to solve the energy crisis because you have found a way to commercialize nuclear fission and make it much more affordable. So you are this genius that knows how to kind of provide a solution to a critical problem that the whole world needs. Now, for something so, grand in scale, you're going to need a set of resources that is typically not available in the mainstream, environment. So what you want to do is you want to reach out to something like an incubator first and try and build up on the resources they have, and build up your network and your kind of knowledge and the kind of industry linkages you need to really bring this to the market. It's going to take some time. You're going to need a lot of funding. You're going to need a lot of support. But most importantly, you're going to need a network that will open new doors for you. uh, that you couldn't potentially do it on your own. So for this kind of business, you're going to need a whole lot of resources that's not available out there. But either way, you're solving a critical problem that the whole world needs. And if it works out, you're guaranteed to make money. And that's all you're doing. A business is out there essentially solving some kind of a gap in the market, which is a problem, and you have found a solution to it. As long as you can do that, you are guaranteed to have a successful business. Next slide, please. So, what you want to do now that you have found a gap in the market is you want to kind of evaluate the potential to launch this business. So, this is a very critical step that's often overlooked by many businesses because um, uh, many times entrepreneurs, they have a hunch or they have a gut feeling, and they think they know what they're doing, and they think their solution is going to be accepted by the market right away. And oftentimes we see entrepreneurs do this, and they go out there right away, launch a business, and they find out that the market is not responding in the same way that they thought the market would. And as a result, they run out of cash. And unfortunately, they make up that statistic that we all know about, that 95% of small businesses fail in the first 2 years. It's only because they ran out of cash. Why? Because the market did not respond to them in the way they thought the market would. Only reason is because they didn't take this step. The first step in launching a business is to make sure that what you're going to take out to the market is going to have a high likelihood of being accepted by the market. Because remember, the market is, it's not there to, it's not your parents, or they're not going to be there to take care of you. It's highly competitive. You need to have something that's really compelling, and that will convince people to spend their hard-earned dollars on you, because you're a complete stranger in the market. And so what you want to do is first make sure you're going to go out into the market with some kind of data and evidence. And so the first thing you want to do is figure out who is going to be your customer. What are their buying preferences? What are the kind of options they have right now? Who is your competition? What makes you better than them? What are the opportunities for you to improve? How can they kind of, if you were to enter the market, how would they respond? What are the kind of steps they would take to kind of annihilate you, right? They would immediately, let's say you're going to a market where there are some big fish. They can completely launch a product that'll match yours. They have far more resources and a bigger brand name, and they will quickly take you out of the market. So, what are the steps they would take to kind of take you out? So you have to be prepared for all of these things. You have to figure out what the market prices are, what position you're going to take within this price range. Are you going to position yourself as a like an affordable commodity or a luxury commodity or something in between? And if you are going to be positioning yourself within this broad spectrum, who is your competition? Or do you not have any competition? Or can that existing market respond to you by positioning themselves in this spectrum of the market? So all of these things comes with research, and that's a highly critical step you need to take to figure out your position in the market. And once you figure it out, you're going to go out into the market and test it out. And that's in the tech world, that's called an MVP. But it's been happening throughout pre-tech, throughout time, a business before they launch. You want to go out there and test it out and see how the market responds without taking too much of a risk. And so that way you're going to go out, uh, uh, test out your solution. It doesn't have to be a full scale solution. It can just be a few options of what you offer, and you're going to start seeing how customers respond, and if they like it, good. You can go ahead and develop on that and make it into a much more full scale product. If they are not responding positively, that's also okay. At least this way, you can go back to the drawing board and retool and kind of reconfigure yourself and come back with a new, different solution. Or you can go back and try something different. Maybe that's not the kind of way to go ahead, and maybe what you want to do is either go get a job or try a different business avenue. Either way, you didn't lose much. And that's the most important thing, is to keep that risk low so that you can go back and pivot or transform yourself or go and do something different without having to lose much in the end. So the first thing you want to do is come up with a basis for your solution and then go test it out. Next slide, please. And so all of this is called primary research. It's fine and dandy to come up with a business plan, develop everything theoretically, or come up with your MVP based on your personal assumptions or some kind of online research you did. All of that is good, but at the end of the day, you need to go test it out with the real world, and then you will see what the market is telling you, and you can go back and reconfigure the whole thing or try something different. But either way, like I mentioned before, at the end of the day, you're going to get valuable data and information which will help you build a foundation on your business and how to kind of progress going forward and minimize that risk as a result, and avoid being part of that statistic. So let's take a real world example here. Let's take an example like, let's say, the pizza stove. Something very simple, but also something very common, right? Because there's a pizza stove, at least there are like, I don't know, 5 to 10 pizza stoves per block nowadays in Toronto. So you might think it's a highly saturated market. However, if 5 to 10 pizza stores can survive, even in this market for so long, that means there is an opportunity out there. That means the demand is out there, and people are still continuing to support these businesses, and maybe there's a gap in the market that's not currently being served. So let's say that you have an amazing recipe for a dough that is probably hundreds of years old, and it has been in your family, and it's a very tasty dough that you came and you found out that it's not available here to that same level, and you think you can make a pizza with this dough that tastes a lot better than what's out there. So what you want to do first, obviously, is I'm going to try it with your friends and family, and obviously they must have tried it out because they're probably part of that same circle, and they probably think that you are a great chef who can exactly replicate that pizza dough and stay true to the heritage and history of this product. Then the next step you want to do is you want to contact one of our incubators. Yeah, there are incubators that serve the food industry, so they might be a really good first step for you to take, which will kind of provide you with the network, the commercial kitchen space, the advisory services that come with it, especially expertise in the food industry, which will really help guide you. Now, if you don't take that step, that's fine. You can do it on your own as well. So in that case, what you want to do is you want to follow the public health guidelines and accordingly start working on your pizza. So you're going to now start renting a commercial kitchen space. You're going to get your food handler certification, go to a commercial kitchen space that's licensed by Toronto Public Health and approved by them, and you're going to start making a few pizzas. And then you're going to start attending a few community events, some maybe some festivals, food festivals, farmers markets, anywhere where food is being celebrated, and you're going to target certain neighborhoods. So because your pizza is not very affordable, let's say it's not a value based pizza, because at the end of the day you did your costing and you found out that it costs you about $12 to make the pizza, and you need to price it at about $25 to $30 to make sure that you cover not just your cogs but also to get you a salary, and also to make enough of a margin so that you can invest it back into your business. So you probably need to sell that pizza for about $25 to $30, and that's just a large pizza, a regular large pizza. So this is obviously not the same price as something you can get a pizza from, let's say Domino's or your Pizza Nova or something like that. This is just for a one topping large pizza. You're going to be probably selling it at about $30. So not everyone can afford this. So only certain types of customers can. And where are these customers going to be? So based on your online research, you found that they are in certain neighborhoods in Toronto, and they attend certain kinds of festivals and events, and they do not um, when they do spend money, they look at quality more than quantity, and for them, they want something that is not only tasty but is also healthy, and they're willing to experiment and try something new because they have that income to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to start attending these events, and now showcase your pizza by sampling and things like that. And in turn, what you're doing is not only are you uh, showcasing this pizza to complete strangers who have no knowledge of you, but in turn, you're getting real world feedback. If these people start buying those pizzas after tasting the sample, let's say they buy the frozen pizza, or they contact you to get the pizza delivered on a certain day, that's validation for you. That means these people are willing to pay $30 a pie, and they're willing to spend their hard-earned money on you. That kind of validation really, builds a lot of confidence in an entrepreneur. On the flip side, if you find that people are not, buying your pizza, and they're complaining that it's too expensive, or it's not, or the samples were not convincing enough for them to make that purchase decision, um, you're at least getting real world feedback here that you need to go back and do something different. Maybe the real feedback was that the dough was too chewy, or they were not convinced it's worth $30. And what you can do is you can try and respond accordingly by going back to the drawing board and coming up with something maybe cheaper, or a different formula for the dough. Um, Either way, you haven't lost money as much as you could have if you had just gone out and launched a pizza store. Now let's go back to the positive vibe, and let's say people are willing to spend money, but they're saying that maybe it's not worth $30. Maybe if it was in that $20 to $25 range, it might be more realistic. That way, you're getting some real world feedback. They're not necessarily asking for a discount, they're just giving you some actual advice. What you might want to do is you might want to try out selling the pizza at these events and different events in an A/B format. What that means is, let's say between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., you sell the pizza for 20 bucks a pie, and between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. you sell it for 30 bucks a pie or 25 bucks a pie, whichever one you choose. And you find out that um, between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m., people end up buying uh, as many pies as in the earlier session, and in return, you're making more money by selling the same number of pies. So that means you have found a sweet spot here. Maybe 25 bucks is the right number, and you can go forward and continue and start selling it at that price point. So this is another way to find the real world price. And then the other thing you find out, or other thing you're doing in the whole process, is you're building a brand. People will get to know you. They're interacting with you. You're getting them to sign up for your social media or your newsletter. You're building up a brand here and a reputation where one day when you do launch that business, let's say you're going to open the pizza store, now that you're convinced after doing these events for 6 months, you have got enough data and feedback and you're making enough money now, you're going to launch a business as a storefront one day, in, let's say, in 4 or 5 months from now. You can send an email out, or you can put a DM out, or you can put a Instagram post out, several posts out, and let everyone know that you're going to be opening a store on such and such a date, instead of you just going out there on day one and launching a store and trying to build up a reputation and a brand. Instead, what you have done after 1 year of hard work, you have built up a brand where at least 10% of those people that you interacted with will show up. And you're guaranteed to make some kind of money from day one, because you have got all your numbers straightened out, and you have a business model here which which directly corresponds to what the market wants, and you know from day one of launch you're going to be making money. So that's what this is all about. It's essentially testing a hypothesis out and making sure that there's a validation for this, and that's what a business is. So if you can go to the next step, please. Yeah, during the whole process, you will know exactly what your costs are. All the time, we see that businesses die not because of uh, an idea not being good, or being or the solution to the problem not being good. It's because they run out of cash flow, and so the entrepreneur's energy dies out as a result as well. They try everything they can to get that cash flow going, but once the business runs out of money, that's it. That's the end of the business. So, what you want to do in during the process of primary and secondary research is to really figure out the numbers, and we put some topics here which might get you prompted to thinking, but there's a lot more that goes on into building the expenses, the top and the bottom line of a cash flow statement. And so you really need to know, down to every single decimal point of every single line in the ledger, so to speak. And so the only way you know that is by testing out your hypothesis in the real world with very minimal risk. And then you will know exactly what it costs to make something or to serve something, whether it's a product or service based business. And in the case of the pizza stove, or the pizza business rather, you will know exactly how much it costs to make one pizza, and how much money you need to charge to make the kind of margins you need to run a profitable business. And the only way you'll do that is to test it out in the real world. Next slide, please. And in the process, you will know exactly how much money you need. Sometimes you might not even need any money, because let's say you're going to open a consulting firm. You have already spent money on the education and getting that work experience, and you have everything you need to be an expert in that field. All you have to do now is launch your business. Again, you might just need a few $100 to attend certain networking events, meet with potential clients. These days you can even do it for a lot less by promoting yourself on social media. This includes LinkedIn and things like that, and reaching out and making those DMs and coming out as a highly valuable expert in the field. Um, or it can be something where you need some money to launch a product, and again, you will know exactly how much you need based on your expenses and the kind of cash flow you need to go well beyond the break even point and into profitability. And also, while you're doing this kind of forecasting, there might be some economic headwinds coming up, which you will be made aware of while you're building up the cash flow statements, and you might want to have some kind of money for to cover those situations. And so these days there are various funding options apart from the traditional, conservative funders. There are also angel investors, venture, and crowdfunding options these days. Um, Either way, based on the amount of money you need, remember I spoke about the two types of solutions to a problem. If it's a large scale need of resources, then you will definitely have to go through um, uh, private funding, whether it's an angel or a venture. And for that kind of thing, you will need to network and build that connection list. That'll really help you. Or if it's a much more smaller scale solution, then you can potentially get early stage funding through, financial brokers, banks, even some angels, uh, and maybe even some government grants. There are some grants out there for early stage businesses, which requires only you to have invested certain amounts of money into your own idea, and they can match that for you. So all depends on your needs. Based on those needs, you can find the appropriate funding source. Next slide, please. And then during the process, you can register your business. Either you can register it on day one, or when you are ready to formally go out there and test your idea, uh, or even afterwards. After, let's say, you have tested your idea, now you're ready to launch a commercial operation, a full-scale commercial operation. You can register your business then as well. The only reason is because let's say you just want to test your idea, you can just start operations under you, the individual. All you need is a business number from the CRA. That's not even a sole proprietorship. Or you can open a sole proprietorship, which is basically a business created under you, the individual. Again, you will just get a number from the CRA, which is the Canada Revenue Agency, and start your operations. Or you can take it to a step up and have a corporation. Basically, what that is you're setting up an entity that's completely separate to you, and this entity is now going to be responsible for all the assets and liabilities of the business. Um, if we can go to the next slide, please, so that it explains everything in a little bit more detail. A corporation can be either a federal or a provincial corporation. Um, Provincial corporations are the easiest to set up. Essentially, it's a corporation in Ontario. All you need to do is go on Service Ontario's business registry, and you can do everything online. It costs about $260, and there is this additional fee if you're going to register a name, but you can do that all virtually. A federal corporation, again, can be done virtually, this time through Incorporations Canada. It costs a little bit more, but again, it's very straightforward. The difference between the two, a provincial corporation, the headquarters is in Ontario only. That means if you're going to do any kind of physical business in person, and you're going to be doing it outside of Ontario, then you are kind of limited to doing business only in Ontario. But of course, you can do it virtually throughout the world from Ontario. The other thing is the name. The name is only kind of valid in Ontario. So someone else in another province or territory can register a business with that kind of same name. So that's where a federal corporation comes in. The name is second only to a trademark. Your name is valid throughout Canada, and also you can do business throughout Canada in person without having to go and register in the different provinces and territories. So it's probably a little bit, it's probably worthwhile spending a little bit more to get a federal corporation, depending on your needs. So if you're strictly going to be here in Ontario, then yeah, then you might not need to go that step. So that's the main difference between the two types of corporations. The other is that the difference between the corporation and sole proprietorship, in addition to creating this organization that's completely separate to you, there's also going to be um, uh, kind of the tax obligations that you might want to talk to an accountant about. That might give you some advantages in having a corporation versus having a sole proprietorship, because having a sole proprietorship means that you're going to be taxed as an individual. And so, let's say you're making more money, you're going to be making more money as an individual, that means. And so you'll be moving up the tax brackets as an individual. So that might hurt your income. So you might want to consider having a corporation in that case. And again, having a chat with an accountant is highly prudent. Um, in between all of this is a partnership, which is very similar to a sole proprietorship. The only difference is that it's not just you anymore, it's you plus another person, up to 10 people that are involved in the business. But everything else is the same as a sole proprietorship, where all of the individuals that are in the business or in the partnership are going to be responsible for the business assets and liabilities. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, so everything I spoke about is called business planning, and it's a really good exercise for you to get an idea of your business, how you're going to operate it, who is your competition, what are the economic conditions out there, what are the opportunities out there for you, what are the threats, and how you're going to market and build your business brand and get customers and manage your cash flow, and in turn have a successful business operation. The most important thing about a business plan is not so much the kind of the end product, but it's the kind of change in mindset of that entrepreneur uh, when they go into the planning process versus coming out of it. The entrepreneur that comes out of the whole business planning process is a much more educated, knowledgeable, prepared entrepreneur to meet the market demands and conditions. And that is the most important thing. It's like an athlete training for, let's say, the Olympics. You have to train. You can't just go up and show up just because you have the genetics and the talent. You need to train to make a difference and compete. Same kind of thing. With the business planning process, it's not so much the end product, but rather the thought process, the change in the thought process of the entrepreneur, someone who becomes far more prepared to compete in the market. That is the most important thing that comes out of this. And I think that's why many entrepreneurs, when they are forced to take this step, they don't necessarily take the step. It's because it's quite a challenging process um, to not only come up with your solution to the problem, but also to go and test it out in the real world in a small scale before you actually launch it. Next slide, please. Yeah, so if you want to stay in touch, the best way to stay in touch with us is through our newsletters. I'll put a link in there, but if you go on our website, you'll see that. Whether it's a government grant that the city is involved with, or whether it's your local councillor or the mayor that's doing something related to business, or whether it's another program or regulation that's going to impact business, everything goes in that newsletter once a week, and that's the best way to stay in touch with us. Next slide, please. Yeah, you can visit us in person, Scarborough on Mondays, North York on Tuesdays, or our website throughout the year. And that's our phone number and email. Please do reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help and figure out your needs, and based on your needs, find a solution to it. And yeah, finally, in the last slide, I'd like to thank our partner, which is the province. And I'd like to open it up to any questions, or rather hand it over to Anne and take it to the next step.
Great. Thanks so much, Jith. That was incredible. I've learned so much, and it sounds like there really are so many incredible resources available through the city of Toronto. And it's just incredible how much there's to consider when you are starting a small business. And this is something I've considered before, is that it feels like you really do have to be able to have kind of two hats, right? Not only have that idea and be good at that particular thing, like pizza making. It's not a good example, but you were just referring to it. But you also have to have a kind of business sense and understand. So I'm so glad that there are resources like you and other similar services throughout the province, and I'm assuming throughout the country as well, to be able to provide that support. So please do, participants, if you can continue to type questions in the chat, I'll be reviewing them now, and I'll ask them to Jith. A few, we won't be able to necessarily get to all of them, but we will indeed do our best. So Jith, the first question I can see here from Nadine, um, is, do all of the centers offer the same services as the one in Toronto?
Theoretically, yes, but practically no, because in terms of, let's talk about the webinars, for instance, the training programs that we offer. They're very complicated and complex and thorough. A smaller center might not be able to do that. Advisory services, again, we have advisors on board who are experts in the field, who have been through this process quite a lot. The same level of expertise might not be available in another center. So um, on the flip side, when it comes to things like funding um, and other services, theoretically they're supposed to reflect the needs of the community and offer it appropriately, yes. But again, for instance, the number of grants, obviously Toronto being the biggest in the province, we have access to a lot more grants than, let's say, another city or town or region in Ontario.
Hmm. But on the flip side, I would say that if you're from outside of Toronto, well, there might be centers that have less resources. There's less competition, right? I would assume. I mean,
Less competition and smaller markets too. Yeah, so
smaller
less
markets
demand.
too. I guess it all balances out. But well, thank you. I
Yeah,
mean, that's good to know. You see, this is why you're here. You know way more about this topic than I do, Jen. Um,
no worries. Well, I work in three small towns, so I kind of know what it's like.
it's like, thank you. Another question that's being asked of Ola asks, and I hope I'm saying that's right, Olha, are there any requirements regarding the immigration status for participants? Because I didn't hear that you mentioned anything about this, Jeff, unless I missed that.
No, I didn't cover that. Yeah, that's a evolving topic. So, generally speaking, to start a business, you need to be a permanent resident or a citizen. Now, the best source to kind of get proof of whether you can start a business or not is to contact Immigration, Refugee, and Citizenship Canada, and contact them directly and ask them if you are allowed to start a business or not. Now, having said that, when you are going to register a business, they're not going to ask you that question. However, when it comes to tax time, that's when you get caught out if you're not legally allowed to start operate a business in Canada. So it's always better to go through the process.
Hmm. You don't want to get caught, and you don't want to get in trouble. Sorry, you don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, you don't want to
And
get in trouble because that will, if let's say you're not a PR or you're on a work permit and you're not allowed to operate a business or start a business, you're supposed to be a student or on a close work permit to a certain employer, you're not allowed to start a business, let's say, I'm just saying, and then they find out that you are running a business, that can impact your application, PR application, and so on and so forth.
So just make sure with them that it's okay for you to start a small business. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Oh, I see a question here about the startup visa process. Yes, just related to that. Yes. So that is a way to get PR. So you definitely want to check that resource out, and that's a legal way to either start a business or bring your business from overseas to Canada and operate it here, and in turn get PR.
Great. That's a really good question. I'm so glad that we brought that up because this is a really great opportunity, like to start your own business if you are new to Canada, but you have to make sure of certain things, right? Your status. I've another question is coming from Manika. I already have an incorporated small business, but I'm yet to move ahead. Can I get personalized business plan slash advice from TSBEC?
Absolutely. Just reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help.
Great. That was easy. Okay. And it's free. um,
Yeah, it's not like you have to spend thousands of bucks for a business consultant or EY or a KPMG or something like that. You can access our services for free.
Great, because we need we love small businesses. The city loves small businesses. It creates employment opportunities for folks, and they help the economy grow. I have another
Mhm.
question from, and I hope I'm saying this right, Bevan Preet. Bevan Preet asks, "Do you help in finding mentorship?" I think you might have mentioned this, but if you can maybe elaborate a little bit more, just
Yeah, for sure. So we do offer a mentoring program. The only catch is that you need to have a business plan that's reviewed by us, and you need to have taken two of those webinars that we offer, those live webinars. The only reason is that we want to make sure that you are serious about starting a business, and the mentor who's giving so much of their time gets a lot of value as well. In turn, they're not just working with someone who just has ideas rather than a business that they actually want to launch. If you have just an idea, you can reach out to us, and we'll just talk it out and validate that and help you get that business plan together, and then you can get into a mentoring program.
amazing. I always recommend Jith when I'm speaking to professionals who are interested in starting their businesses or looking to grow to find a mentor because it's really it's just so helpful. I think for most industries, but particularly entrepreneurship, where I feel like that there's such a steep learning curve. Any opportunities to
Mhm.
connect with a mentor, it's incredible. Really help. So thank
Yeah.
you for that. I have another question. It's coming from Mika or Mecca. Jith, do you guys only support for-profit businesses, or can you also help with starting a charity or a not-for-profit? Good question. Well, Jith, what would you say to that?
Yeah, the primary audience is for profit. Now, it all depends on what you want to do. So, if it's like a registration of a nonprofit, I mean, we can help you with that, but there's a certain process to that. We can help you out with the process where you register a nonprofit with the province, no problem. But after registering the nonprofit, there's a lot of CRA requirements. For this, you need expert guidance from an accountant who specializes in this kind of service, ideally. Um, Otherwise, if it's just about getting advice on how to run it, operations, marketing, strategy, finance, even, yeah, we can help you out with that. All depends on what you want.
Great. That's really good to know. Thank you, Jith. Lots of
Sure.
questions, so I just want to make sure I have time for all of them. They're really good questions, everyone. So keep them coming in the chat. All right, JMCS. I'm a CPA with specialization in business analysis and finance transformations. I've worked in large organizations, provincial government, federal government, banks, insurance, Crown Corps, universities. Would TSBEC advise on how to pivot to smaller business?
Yeah, it's very simple. It's all about networking and connecting with those small business owners directly. These small business owners, you're more likely to find them at a local chamber of commerce or a business association event, that kind of thing. The even smaller ones who don't have time to attend events, you probably had to visit them in person, do some door knocking, the traditional old school door knocking. That's the only way you get their attention. not
Mhm.
LinkedIn.
Not LinkedIn.
So yeah, so those are the kind of main ways to reach the small businesses.
Great. Thank you so much, Jith.
Yeah.
Um, Another question from Nauman. How do we patent our idea and when do we have to do it? Like, for example, at which stage?
Yeah, so this is a question where you might want to speak to someone involved with, let's say, patent law and IP, um, who could be a lawyer most likely. So, generally speaking, the advice is probably might not be worthwhile patenting right away, unless you are a multinational company with, you know, a big budget. Uh, then yeah, you can pay the lawyer fees, get this thing patented for several, several thousands of bucks, and then get a patent that's valid across North America. And then what are you going to do? You have this patent. What's going to stop someone from another country who has access to this public patent from replicating your design? How are you going to stop them? Do you have the financial and the legal backing to go to that country and put a cease and desist order? No, right? If you don't, like I said, if you're from a multinational company or you have a huge inheritance or something like that, then yes, you can. But if not, it's probably not a worthwhile idea to start patenting things right away because the moment you patent, it's public information. And the whole process of getting a patent is very expensive and time consuming. So it might not be worthwhile. But either way, you might want to talk to an IP lawyer.
Hmm. Thank you for that. Yes, I'm not surprised by your answers. I answer. I have heard that getting a patent is indeed time consuming and very expensive, unfortunately. Great. Thank you so much. Next, Jenny asks, how can you test your product? Are there any resources available or any places? I love this question, Jeth. I was thinking about a few small businesses in my neighborhood, and for example, there's a sandwich shop that opened up, and the way that they tested their product is that they started out as at farmers markets, and once they create buzz and they tested it out, trying out different things, they developed followers. Basically, like people would line up like forever just to, and it was a
Mm,
popular place there. And then obviously after research, but they realized, okay, in testing out the product, um this could go. But what about for other products? Are there any other ways that you can test your products if it's not food services, because that one's pretty easy.
yeah, it all depends on the product.
Yeah.
So, without knowing what the product is, it's very hard to tell how to go about testing. So, if it's a, let's say, a cosmetic product, there's a way to go about doing that. If it is a, mm, I don't know, some kind of a electronic product, there's another way to go about doing that. So, I'm not entirely sure how to answer the question without knowing the product.
Yeah, definitely, because it really does depend on the product. But there are opportunities out there. There are trade shows. There are different events that you can participate in. So just do some further research. Um,
Yeah.
Maria asks, are there playbooks for business ideas of idea evaluations? Guidance, what is good enough?
Mm, yeah, there is a couple. Let me just quickly Google it.
Okay. Thanks, Google. What would we do without you?
um, Yeah, one of them is Steve Blank's The Startup Owner's Manual. That's a really good book. And the other one is Eric Rees' The Lean Startup.
Mhm. Great. Thank you so much. And along with that, Jith, I can think of so many amazing books out there written by successful entrepreneurs who share their stories. And I would definitely recommend that folks out there check them out. I remember, Jith, I forgot. Oh my gosh. And probably folks out there will know the name of this person, but somewhat recently, last year, I read the story of Nike and the founder of Nike. That was a really good
Mm,
read.
yeah.
And it was interesting because, the founder of Nike, like literally started selling shoes out of his the back of his car. Then he started gaining popularity, but then there were issues with patents and lawsuits, and it was incredible. But it just goes to show you really the ups and downs of starting a small business, and this is just part of the growth. So yeah, I would suggest, doing some research on your own, finding some really excellent, either lots of excellent books out there with folks who are successful entrepreneurs to share their stories. But
Yeah.
anyway, more.
Also,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
podcasts are really good these days.
Yes.
They cover all kinds of topics, so you get lots of good information from, like you said, books written by entrepreneurs. Similarly, experts who have built these amazing companies now, but they all started somewhere in some basement or a garage or at the back of a truck. There, no one really knows that side of the story, right? So we only see the end result. So these podcasts, they take you back to that beginning. So
It's so interesting. I love hearing stories of, triumph and success. It's after dealing with challenges along the way. It's so interesting to me.
yeah.
Um, anyway, there's a question from uh, Pankaj, and this is a very technical question, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Does sole proprietorship get auto renewal with the province? So I'm not sure if you can answer that for us,
Yeah,
please.
every 5 years, you got to renew it every 5 years. Whereas with the corporation, it's not something you renew, it's something you file taxes and inform the CRA that this company is alive and running.
That was
But
easy.
with the sole proprietorship, you have to renew every 5 years with Service Ontario.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yep.
The next question I have here from Barris: Were there requirements from the entrepreneurs to be able to use your services?
No, you can come with an idea. No
That's
requirement. No.
it.
We are a public service, so we are open to anyone.
Great. Thank you. Anyone. That's wonderful. Sandra asks, what should I do when food labs are not responding to my requests to get pricing for their services?
Call them.
Tell them.
And
That's a
remember,
good response.
entrepreneurs are a very tenacious bunch. They will pursue you until you give up. So you have to be one of them. You don't just accept a no. A true entrepreneur does not accept a no. They will get an answer.
Mm, that's true. They really do
Show up
have
at
to
the
be, yeah.
door. I don't know. Show up at the door. Do whatever you have to do to get an answer.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because it's not an easy industry to pursue. So you really got to be dedicated and not. I know it's a
Mhm.
cliche, but not take no for an answer. Just keep putting yourself out there.
Yeah,
Great, thank you. And I agree. I agree. That's why I really think, Jith, it takes a special kind of person to be successful and
exactly.
to be an entrepreneur. I have an entrepreneur in my family, and it's interesting how he's become successful. And one of the things is he's a risk taker. He loves taking risks, like they're calculated. And he hasn't taken failures personally, like he started
Hmm.
other small businesses in the past and they didn't work out, but he didn't take it like a personal front to him as a person or what he had to offer, but instead he used it as a learning experience. So, and again, this is another cliche. I think it also takes a certain degree of thick skin to be successful. Would you agree, Jith?
100%. And also, the other cliche is perseverance, right? Because you really have to believe in yourself and your idea and your solution. And you got to keep going even when everyone else is saying no around you, including the market. You really have to be able to convince yourself that it's not going to work until you give up. So that's going to take a lot of belief to just keep going. Not everyone has that. Many people give up at the first no. Uh, the really successful ones don't. They just keep going.
Hmm. And I would even take that further, Jith, by suggesting that, surround yourself with by people who believe in you and who believe in your product, who can help lift you when you're feeling
Mhm.
down. Because I think that's in any area of career exploration. You want to surround yourself by positive people, coaches, um, mentors, like you suggested, because you do need to be determined and driven, but it's really hard if you're surrounded by
Yeah,
people who are saying to you, oh, you're not going to make it. Oh, do you know how hard it is to start small business, or that idea is? So really think about who you're surrounded
100%. Absolutely. And the ideal kind of people you want to surround yourself is with other entrepreneurs.
with. Good point. Yeah. Other entrepreneurs that show you you can do it and who can provide objective advice. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel like I'm taking so much time, and I'm just going through some of these questions and they're really great. And this is a wonderful question. Morteza asks, what are the most popular grants available, would you
I
say?
don't know. All depends on your needs. I mean, we do have a popular grant called the Starter Company Grant. Uh, I can only speak to that because that's the only one we are familiar with. And it's very popular. Um, let's say the demand is, I would say, for every 14 to 15 applications, you get one grant.
Wow. Okay, so that is the most popular one. Thank you.
And
Um,
these are not repeat applications. You can only, if you get the grant, you cannot apply for it again. So this program has been running for about 15 years now. So most of those people who are applying are new.
so you can't double dip. You can't get it
No.
twice. Okay.
Mhm.
That is good to know. I'm getting some specific questions as they pertain to business,
Sure.
to their business ideas. But I think what I'll do, Jith, is I'll kind of table them, because folks who do have specific questions about starting daycares or food related
Yeah,
businesses,
just reach
please.
out to us. Reach out to us. Smallbusiness@toronto.ca.
Mhm. And I have questions about how to register your business. Looking to get help registering their business, again, contact TSBEC.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, this is an interesting one too. Caroline asked, and I realize we have time for maybe 3 questions or so. We'll see. Caroline asked, from your experience, Jith, what are the best industries to launch a business in for the first time entrepreneur? Ooh, I'm not sure. How are you going to answer that one? It's a big
Oh, I don't
question.
know. All depends on you. Usually we see food, retail, and services like consulting services, for instance, being the most common ones. Uh, but let's say you are, um, all depends on what you're bringing to the table, and if you have something that you can, bring to the market that will add a lot of value and make it better, then yeah, why not?
Mm. And also it's interesting because I think it's not just about looking at the demand of a particular industry, but also seeing, like you were talking about, research, see what the competition's like. So there might be a demand for ice cream, but there are hundreds of ice cream shops in Toronto. And the other thing to consider is, okay, there might be a demand for IT support, but there's lots of free IT support that people can access by just going online. So I think these are all really important
Yeah,
things to consider, right? And I mean, having the globalization and high speed internet, all that is helpful in a way because it can help you to reach out to a lot of people, but then it also provides a lot of free resources to folks as well. And so you're having
yeah.
to deal with this, so people can often do a lot of, like, in terms of services, things on their own. So it's interesting, isn't it?
Exactly. Or you'll be competing at price points which you cannot, talking about IT support, for instance, you'll probably be competing with people overseas who can undercut you. So, what are you going to do to differentiate yourself from them? I mean, is it going to be service based where you can provide a service in a timely manner, which they cannot? Uh, or is it going to be something else?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to think about there. I'm just looking through some of these questions here. Actually, we have about 2 minutes. Jith, my final question is, or I guess comment, is, if if a small if a, can you give some final advice or words of wisdom to the folks out there who are interested in starting a small business or looking to grow their small business?
Sure. So, I would say to leverage all the resources out there. I just came through a lot of the resources we have. Uh, Tap into those, build your network, get to know people who could potentially help you, who could partner with you, who could be your customers. Build that network up. Get to know all the support systems out there for you. Figure out what are the opportunities by talking to people. If you don't have an idea or a solution right now, talk to people and get to know about all the different issues, the gaps that are out there, and maybe you can make one of those problems into an opportunity. And if you can do that, then you will know what kind of resources you need to get that into a successful operation. And because of your network and your uh, knowledge of all the resources and where to look for when you need something, you will be more successful than trying to do it, uh, you know, on a just on a guess or just uh, in a heartbeat.
So research and connecting with people is always key. Well, that's really great advice, Jith. And on that note, we are going to wrap up. I'd like to remind everyone a few things. So, well, first of all, it's very important to thank Jith for being
Thank
here
you.
today.
Thank
This was
you,
so
everyone.
informative, and I'm so glad that we had you here with us today, and we had some amazing participants out there. Thank you for those who participated, for asking fantastic questions. Please do reach out to us. Reach out to Jith through the Toronto Enterprise. I keep saying that, but that's how it's used to be called. I believe that the website was provided in the chat. But Jith, if you'd like to share,
Yeah,
thank
I
you
just
very
put that in
much.
there.
Thank you very much. And also just to remind everyone out there that School of Continuing Studies at University of Toronto has a fantastic entrepreneurship program. You can take some courses, connect with some wonderful professionals. Like Jith was saying, part of it is research and networking. And so please do check out our program. Reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any further questions or you'd like to network with me. And reach out to Blueprint Career Services. And Jith, I look forward to see you again in person at our Career Expo, which will be taking place in April. For folks out there, stay tuned. We are having an exciting event in April in person at our Heart House location. More details to come. But on that note, thank you, Jith, and thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone. Bye
Thank
now.
you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.